And let me maximize this. Okay. Welcome back to another episode of Fantasy Football Friendly Focus, Playoff Edition. I got a friend that wants to talk fantasy football with me. I am your host who boasts, who knows the most. But if my picks don't help you, you can definitely roast. But if my picks help you, you can definitely toast. And I got my friend from Arizona, my brother from another mother. Two, what it do, baby boo? How you doing?
Doing good, doing good. All I gotta say is playoffs. Playoffs?
Oh, that's for me. Yeah. Sadly, I did not make the playoffs. You did in our league, you bastard. But I was close. But it looked like it was already determined last week already. So um, yes, like I said, for a lot of people, it's going to be playoffs week. So gotta be really careful who you start this week for sure, and check the matchups for sure. So um, two, I believe you are the first or second seed in our league.
For sure, it says number one next to the name, Randy. You should be able to see that. It's right on your
I'm
phone.
sorry, I stopped caring after I lost. All right, all right. Just kidding, but good job. But so let's go into what did we learn from last week. So we learned that the Raiders can't even beat the Rams with a backup quarterback. So they had Baker Mayfield
hmm
come in. He came in, he shined, and he took them to the victory. What do you think about that, too?
They won by 1 point. The Rams are still terrible, but the Raiders just
Just as bad, right? Yeah, yeah,
made they just made sure they were even more terrible.
yeah. Right, right. Gotcha.
If you lose to Baker Mayfield in the fourth quarter like that, you never deserve any W's.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Um,
Devontae Adam. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, he made his choice. He made his choice. So, second thing we learned is that third string quarterback Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick in the draft, comes in, throws two touchdowns, runs for another touchdown, beats Tom Brady in his debut game. What do you think about that? I mean, like this is the first quarterback that ever debuted to beat Tom Brady.
You know I gotta make a joke. You know I gotta make a joke about that.
Okay,
Purdy, it was Purdy. It
it was
was
pretty.
Purdy.
It wasn't ugly. It
When you
was
beat
pretty.
it was
Yeah,
Purdy. It was
yeah,
Purdy. When you beat Tom Brady like that, it was just really Purdy.
yeah. And the third thing we learned is um, that the Patriots beat the Cardinals, but worse, that Cardinals lost Kyler Murray for the year with a torn ACL. Ouch.
I'll say that I am currently a resident of Arizona,
hmm
but was never a big fan of Kyler Murray. I'll have to say that from day one.
Yeah,
Just
it looked like he did pretty well the first two seasons, and then now it's just kind of like fallen off, you know. So maybe they kind of
pretty
figured
good
him
doesn't
out.
cut it, Randy. Pretty good doesn't cut it, man. You gotta get in the Super
Yeah.
Bowl.
So yeah. But let's jump into the game for this week and see if we can try to help you guys out there. Um, pick the right guys for to win. So there's gonna
hmm
be something very interesting about this week is that it's one Thursday night game and three Saturday games. So let's start
hmm
off with the 49ers at the Seahawks. So um, looks like Brock Purdy is dealing with an oblique injury, so we don't know how he's going to be doing. He did pretty well, excuse me, at home against Tom Brady. So that's at home. But now they're going to go into Seattle. So would you start Brock Purdy too if you had him as your quarterback this week?
So surprisingly, I actually picked up Brock Purdy from the waiver this morning.
Nice.
My plan on that was definitely not going to start him this week just because I don't like injuries, especially
Very
from
smart.
somebody as important as a quarterback. So my game plan on that was more of I want to see what he does this week. I want to see how his health is because of the schedule he has and because of the matchups I have for the last two games.
hmm
I'm going to make a decision because right now, my QB is Geno Smith, who the Niners are playing this Thursday, and I'm not feeling that groovy about his matchups or the last matchup. But that's my game plan for Birdie. I would not
Yeah.
start him this week, but based off what happens, I will start him when I need to.
So how about the wide receivers like well, I think oh yeah, Samuel got hurt last week, so he's not out. So it's
hmm
gonna be pretty much Ayuk and I think Jennings. So I would suggest starting Ayuk for sure because he's probably gonna get most of the
hmm
targets. And
For
with
sure.
yeah, and probably George Kittle too because you gotta have someone to throw it to, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that basically makes Ayuk the number one right now
Hmm.
because Deebo Samuel is out. Gonna be a big hit to their offense, but then they do have the secret weapon, Mr. Christian McCaffrey.
Yes, yes, I agree.
I foresee that Ayuk and McCaffrey will probably put in work. If Purdy is not too injured, I don't know. I kind of like what I saw. I mean, even though it was, I mean, the Bucks are the Bucks, but he did look pretty good out there. To be honest, for a third
Yeah.
stringer, not
Hmm.
that bad, not that bad
And
at all.
Seattle's defense has been pretty so-so this year, so I'd say
Yeah.
you could pretty start anybody against Seattle, even in Seattle. So, would you
Mhm.
start 49ers defense at Seattle?
The number one defense in the league. Automatic start. Automatic start. I wish I had the
You think
Niners
so?
defense. To be honest with you.
You think so? You know what? I'm gonna
What
say
do you
don't
mean they
start him.
so?
I don't think so because it's gonna
Okay.
be against Seattle. Geno Smith is
Okay.
looking to. I think they lost last week. Yeah, so they lost. They're looking to bounce back. Divisional game.
hmm
Third string quarterback. I think they got something to prove. So you say you have Geno Smith, but you're not gonna start him this week, right?
Well, I'm not playing this week, but if
No.
I was playing
Right,
this
right,
week, I
right.
would not start Geno Smith. I
No.
would look at some options on the waiver. I
Streamer.
saw
Yeah.
a couple. Yeah, like I mean, I've had Geno Smith for basically all the moment that I knew Russell Wilson had no
Yeah.
gas
Right.
in the tank.
Pretty much
I just
week
picked
one.
up
Week
Geno
one. Yeah.
Smith and
Yeah.
was the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I give him 3 games. After 3 games, I was like, all right, Russell Wilson, you're going to the bench. And after a couple more games, there was a Thursday night football. There was a Thursday night game where I had to watch him because I started him. Immediately after that week, I just dropped him. I'm not
Very,
like
very
you're
wise.
not
Very
worth a
wise.
bench spot, right?
Very, very
Not
wise.
worth a bench spot. Russell
So,
Wilson, you're the biggest disappointment.
you don't start Smith, right? You, you are you
I
starting
wouldn't.
Lock? Are you starting Lockett and Metcalf for sure then?
Always, those guys are automatic. They're
That's
literally
true.
the main components of that offense. Geno Smith is just really consistent, and I know this because I've been using him for a lot in my matchups. He's like automatic lock now, um, except for this week, obviously. But yeah, he's doing his thing. He's solid. He's consistent. Lockett and Metcalf are just beasting it up, just catching footballs.
How about would you start Noah Fant, the tight end?
Not a big fan. Not a big fan. Big
I'm not a
no
big
to
fan
that
either.
one.
I think he's kind of hit or miss. I mean, if you started him, you're lucky. But if most of the time, most people won't start him. So, Kenneth
I see
Walker the
what's
third.
hyped up.
Yeah,
Well, I
Kenneth
heard
Walker.
he's coming back from injury.
Yeah. So
That boy was definitely changed his name to Runner because he been running hella hard
yeah,
and getting hella touchdowns. So
yeah.
change his name to Ken Runner, please.
Ah,
But
instead of Walker, I get you. I get you. Yeah. So
I'm
yeah,
a big fan of it. I like the way he plays.
yeah.
He
So
was basically beasting it up until he got hurt. Hopefully, he comes back
yeah,
soon.
yeah. I would start
That
him
would
for sure.
definitely help me.
He's kind of
hmm
like a no-brainer too. Like you just got to put him in the line, go start him. And for me, Seattle defense, I think there's only one week suggest starting them, and they did pretty well. But other than that, I don't suggest starting them this week.
Seahawks defense? No, no, you're
Yeah,
not gonna get much from them.
yeah. So
Especially, yeah, I foresee San Fran scoring at least 2, maybe even 3 touchdowns. So
okay,
definitely
good
would
prediction.
not start the Seahawks defense.
Yeah. So the first Saturday game is at 10. It's going to be
hmm
the Colts at the Vikings. So Matt Ryan got his starting job back. You start him this week?
Matt Ryan, the Vikings defense is actually pretty crap. If
It
you're
is.
like
It is.
desperate, if you're desperate at the QB position, and I underline the word desperate, I would start Matt Ryan if you need to. But I hope that if you made it this far in the season,
That
you
you would
would
need
not
him. Yeah.
have Matt Ryan
Yeah.
on your bench.
I honestly,
But
it,
again,
if it's the first week playoffs, it would be too much of a gamble. I would find a
mhm,
streamer quarterback.
mhm,
It's too much of a gamble for me to start him this week.
mhm,
But
mhm.
would you start Michael Pittman this week?
Michael Pittman, the guy that was supposed to be the biggest hype of the year, that literally just turned 2 straight Garbaggio. Yeah, no, I'm good on that, dude.
Yeah, it's kind of hit or miss too. Like he's supposed to be the number one wide receiver, didn't really do
Mhm,
much at all. Um, so yeah, I wouldn't say it. And same for the tight ends like Mo Cox. I think Brown is the other one. They've been too inconsistent.
mhm,
I see the Vikings defense getting to Matt Ryan quick, getting a couple sacks, maybe getting a couple turnovers.
mhm.
I think the only guy I would trust is Jonathan Taylor on the running back. That's the only guy I would suggest starting. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, if that would be a lot of people's number one pick, and at this point of the season, if that's your number one pick, man, you got to ride or die with him because for the most part, you're not gonna find anything better on the waiver.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's kind of like I kind of have to start the guy.
Yeah, I mean,
Trish.
I mean, he did get you some wins, so you might as well just go with him, right? So,
Yeah, you can't. Yeah,
yeah,
you got to go with the number one pick that you picked and ride
exactly.
or die.
So, Colts defense, they're definitely not start this week. I think no, they're not gonna do anything this week. I
For
know
the defense, yeah.
as bad as Cousins is sometimes when I think he's always due for a pick or two or a fumble here or a
Mhm.
pick or a
Mhm.
sack. I wouldn't start them, but
You know what's surprising about the Colts defense? They're actually ranked number 8, which is really weird because when you think about the Colts, you just like slice them up like butter.
mhm.
But yeah, somehow they're ranked number 8. So maybe Cook. I mean, then they have Justin Jefferson and
Yeah.
Devin Cook
So
and Kirk Cousins. They're
so
probably gonna
yeah.
put
So
a beating.
going to the Vikings, I would say start everybody offensively. Cousins,
Yes, yes.
Jefferson, Cook,
Uh-huh.
Hawkinson.
Hawkinson,
Yeah,
yeah.
start all those guys for sure. I think it's going to be Vikings up big pretty much by halftime, close to third quarter.
Hmm.
Would you start Vikings defense? That's kind of tempting. I know they say they've been kind of crappy, but
Rank rank last,
yeah,
32nd.
they yeah
Uh,
out of 32. Yeah, okay, yeah. So I mean, they're kind of like the Raiders defense. You think you're going to start them and they're going to do well? They're like, yes, they're playing against a good matchup, and you start them and they don't
mhm,
do well. So, but yeah,
exactly.
so yeah, don't start the Vikings
Uh,
defense. So all right, so let's
I
go
would
to
not
the
unless. Mhm.
Yeah. So let's go to the next game. So this is going to be an interesting game. Ravens at the Browns. So Lamar Jackson is still hurt. I think it's
Mhm.
Huntley's job again. I think he's
Mhm.
recovered for the concussion. Do you start him
Mhm.
this week against the Browns?
Goes back to that one question. Am I desperate enough? Do I? Is my quarterback? Is my quarterback hurt? Does my quarterback have a really terrible matchup? Like if I had if I was playing this week and I had Geno Smith or Huntley, that'd be pretty rough because it's all matchup dependent on that one. I'll say maybe if you really need to on that one.
Yeah, I think he's a very serviceable backup. He's coming off with a concussion, and you're going against the Browns. The Browns are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense is actually pretty underrated, I think. I think they're going to be all over
Mm-hmm.
him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I wouldn't suggest starting him or any of the wide receivers, really. I mean, do you really know any of the wide receivers on the Browns? Is it
Yeah, actually,
Dumervay, Robinson?
no,
Yeah,
no. Oh, you're talking about the Ravens or the Browns?
the Ravens.
Oh, yeah, Duvernay is basically the only one
Yeah,
that can
and
make
I
it.
think
Yeah.
they're going to cover him. And then I wouldn't start Dobbins, even though he's back. Mark Andrews is
Mm-hmm.
probably the only guy I would probably consider starting this week on the Ravens side. He's probably going to be like the safety blanket for Huntley when he gets in trouble because Andrews always seems to get open. So even though he's been kind of hurt and come back, but yeah, I would only trust him. I mean, he's probably one of the top two tight ends in the league. So
Maybe Dobbins. He had a really good week last week. If you
yeah,
need
probably a flex for
somebody,
sure. Yeah. So
yeah, if you need a flex, he actually would be probably be a good choice.
yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I probably would not touch the Ravens.
How about the Ravens defense? Would you start him this week?
Um, Ravens defense ranked 12th against the Browns. Deshaun Watson.
Mm. I think Deshaun Watson is slowly getting back into to form.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
finding the groove. Yeah, he's
yeah.
finding the
So
groove.
it's not Jacoby Brissett. I mean, Jacoby Brissett did pretty decent when
Hmm.
Watson was gone, but I think Watson's a totally different athlete. So in my opinion,
Hmm.
I would not start the Brown defense. I mean, Ravens defense. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they might just like Nick Chubb and just like run all over their asses
Yeah, and I think
or
that
their
Huntley's
booties.
gonna three and out, sack, fumble, whatever. It's gonna be like defense is gonna be overworked. They're gonna be tired. So would you start Amari Cooper this
Mm-hmm.
week against the Ravens?
Yeah, I have Donovan Peoples Jones. I love saying that name.
Yeah.
That Peoples Jones.
Yep.
Uh, yep, I probably flex him, but then again, the wide receiver position is also very slim pickings. But so if you have like Mari Cooper, I probably would like flex him.
Yeah, he's shown that wherever he goes, whatever quarterback, is thrown to him, he catches the ball. When it was in Raiders,
Hmm.
Cowboys, and now the Browns, yeah. So he's very serviceable. I would start him and
Yeah.
Peoples Jones. I would also start Njoku
Hmm.
as well. Njoku's turned into a
Yeah.
pretty beastly guy, and Chubb is a
Yeah.
no-brainer. Chubb no-brainer. I would start all the offensive guys
Yeah.
on the Browns, and I would actually consider starting the Brown defense this week too at home. So
Yeah. Yeah.
if it's
That
Lamar
at
Jackson,
home.
no. Yeah, Lamar Jackson, no. Yes, Huntley, yes. So
Mhm. Yeah.
so
Yeah. The at home factor makes a big difference
so
too.
oh so
I
oh,
would.
this next game is going to be pretty good. So it's going to be the Dolphins at the Bills. So the last Saturday game.
Woo!
So um, Tua did
Divisional matchup.
yeah they always play each other tough. So Tua did okay
Hmm.
last week. Surprisingly against the Chargers defense that gives up a lot of points. So I thought he would be
Hmm.
thrown for a lot more touchdowns. Maybe it's like toward the end of the season they're getting kind of rusty. But would you start Tua this week against the Bills?
Let's see. Bills defense ranked ninth. And ooh, Bills at home. Would I start Tua? I probably would, just because Tyreek. I really like Tyreek.
And Waddle, yeah.
Waddle does his thing here and there, but Tyreek will probably be the difference maker. At this point, if I had to, I'd probably write that out too, because you never know how that. You can tell, but it's the divisional game. It's gonna be competitive. Um, let's see. Oh, get this. The last time they played back in September,
Hmm.
the Dolphins won by two, 19-21.
Yeah.
And obviously that was the Dolphins at home. Now the Bills are at home. But yeah, I definitely play Tua. Obviously Tyreek's a no-brainer. Water's no-brainer. Mostert is also a no-brainer, I guess.
Yeah, I believe even though it's a divisional game, I think it's going to be a mid to high scoring game on this one. They're going to go back and forth.
Yeah,
They know
I
each
feel
other pretty
that.
well. I think Bills are eventually going to come out on top. Um, I don't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say start Gesicki. He kind of disappeared after doing pretty well at the beginning of the season, and yeah, now he's just pretty much non-existent. Um, I wouldn't suggest starting Dolphins defense. They gave up a lot of points to the Chargers last week, so probably going to be a shootout game this week. But Josh Allen, yeah, no brainer. You start him for sure.
Hmm.
There's no doubt
Hmm.
about it. If you have him, same with Stephon Diggs. The guy's good for 100
Hmm.
yards. If he doesn't get you 100 yards, he gets a couple touchdowns a week. So it's a no-brainer. So um, when it comes to Dawson Knox, what do you think? He's kind of been hit or miss lately.
I mean, based off all the things I've seen, he's not really. Yeah, I would not start him.
Yeah,
I would look at other options. Again, goes back to if you're that desperate, where like he's like a tight end 50. So if you
yeah,
have no tight end and
yeah,
and you know the tight end position is really like slim pickings and barren, and so you kind of go to what you have. If that's what you have, if there's no other option on the waiver, maybe look into like some young receivers that have been playing good,
yeah.
then swap him out. But other than that, I would probably go with him if you need to.
Would you start Singletary this week?
I personally hate Singletary because I've had him in fantasy for a couple times, and every time he would just disappoint. And then every year I just look at his stats and his numbers, like, yo, yeah, that's what I expected from you, Singletary. You're terrible. You're never gonna be an RB1. So no, I
Yeah,
would not.
I think he's considered a flex good. I think it's gonna be a back and forth game. He's probably good in the
That's the
screenplay.
best. Yeah.
Yeah, flex for sure. He's the best running back on the team right now. I mean, he's better than Cook. He's better than was it Hines?
Doesn't
So
really mean much because
yeah,
that
but
doesn't really mean much because their run game is trash
yeah, I don't know why they traded
or
for Hines.
terrible.
Hines is just like a bigger version of Singletary. So I think they're going to use him a lot. So yeah, I would say definitely start Singletary. And
Yeah,
even though the Bills defense is pretty good, I wouldn't suggest starting them this week at all.
yeah. I feel like it's gonna be a high scoring game, like you said earlier. So
Yeah,
or mid or high scoring game. So
yeah, both
yeah,
teams are
I would
in the
not.
playoff hunt. Bills are mad from
Mhm.
last time. I think it's going to be a pretty tough game. So
Yeah, I agree.
so
But
so
I still see the Bills taking it.
yeah, me too. So
So they're definitely taking it.
the first Sunday game is the Falcons. I'm sorry, the Mariota-less Falcons against the Saints. So I think I can't remember his first name, but
Ugh.
the Ritter is going to step in as QB. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's too much of a mystery to start this guy. I know some people pick him up start right away because he's the starter, but yeah, it's a question mark. It's too risky. Um, I think Drake London is the only wide receiver I know for Falcons. Would start him.
Yeah. Hmm.
Kyle Pitts is out for the year. Don't even know who the backup for that is. That's going to be a trend here. I don't know who
Hmm.
the tight end is or the backup tight end. So um,
Hmm.
the only guy I would trust is Cordell Patterson. He returns punts and
Oh,
he runs the
that,
ball.
yeah.
He's the only guy I would trust. And
Hmm.
this is pretty easy. Falcons defense, no, don't start them. But for the Saints, it's
Hmm.
different though. So I believe Andy Dalton is still a starter. So I think he's
Yes.
he's, he's actually worth a stream this week. Just for this week though, if you are
Yeah.
playing against the Falcons, Falcons have pretty bad defense. So I would definitely say he's worth a stream this week. Um, for sure, if
Hmm.
you needing somebody to quarterback at that position. So um, Olave has been pretty consistent as the number one receiver, so I say look for him to have a pretty big game this week. Um,
Hmm.
Same with Gus Johnson, who's pretty much come out to become the number one tight end for that team now. So I look for him to do well. Kamara's a no-brainer; you start him for sure. And the
Hmm.
Saints' defense, I think, is actually definitely worth a stream this week because they're playing against the Falcons. So
I would do it. I would do it
yeah,
100%. Like,
yeah,
uh, the Falcons are terrible.
yeah, yeah.
We don't even know the quarterback's first name.
Yeah, I have to look it up
So yeah,
afterward. If we don't know your
if,
first name, you're terrible. No, I'm just kidding. So,
yeah, definitely. If you need a streaming defense, the same would be a really good choice. Definitely.
yeah, very. So, next game is both teams are El Terrible, which is the
Hmm.
Steelers at the Panthers.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah.
teams are kind of in rebuild mode. Both have the same records, so um,
Hmm.
Kenny Pickett is just the name Pickett. It's just he's just so inconsistent. He'll get a touchdown maybe on late on his feet or anything, but yeah, I don't think anyone's picked him up this season at all, and probably for good reason. He's just probably getting his feet wet. That's fine. Um, I think what's it
Well,
is
we
it?
can.
Oh, God, sorry.
No, I was gonna say if you just look at his numbers. Let's
Yeah,
see. He has thrown 4 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. You think about his receivers. Not really
Johnston
many
and
people
Pickens. Yeah,
to.
it's
Jonathan,
they
yeah.
traded Claypool
Uh,
away. Yeah, I would trust Fryermuth because he's been consistent. He's been there. If he's taking it this far, then I would say trust him, especially probably against the Panthers' poor secondary and everything like that. I'd say if you
mhm,
have Najee Harris as well, you probably go out with him as well because
mhm,
he's probably gonna probably do
mhm.
pretty decent this game. So, would you start Pittsburgh defense against? I guess now since Baker is out and then Sam Darnold is back in, would you start Pittsburgh defense?
That's a really hard question, but it really depends on what your options are. I would probably try to see if I can find something better because you never know. The Panthers, they're like really random. They're also at home, so that may be
Yeah,
a big
that would
factor
be that
too.
would, that would sway my
Hmm.
favorite more to not starting them because it's on the
Hmm.
road, it's different.
Exactly.
Darnold,
I would
he's
do
he's
it.
known to scramble a lot too, so I mean look for him to do that. I wouldn't start anybody pretty much on the the Panthers. Uh, Maybe DJ Moore is probably the only guy with the Foreman and Hubbard. Oh well,
Hubbard. What about Hubbard?
Um,
Is he-
Hubbard's not bad. I mean, but I think Foreman's taken over too, so it's kind of like committee running back. But the
yeah.
Pittsburgh, he's got a pretty good run defense too. So it's gonna be tough. I would only
Yeah.
trust DJ Moore on that one. Probably wouldn't trust any of the running backs really. But if you're desperate, I
Hmm.
guess they could be worth a flex. Um, and I know Carolina defense might be tempting, but they really haven't done anything this whole
Don't do
season.
it.
Yeah,
Don't
it's a
do
trap.
it,
It's a trap.
man.
So
There's a trap.
yeah. So next game is gonna be the Eagles at
Yeah. Ooh.
the Bears. So
Oh. Spicy.
yeah. So um, I'll just tell you this. Pretty easy. Start everybody on the Eagles. Hurts, Smith, Brown, Smith, Sanders.
Hmm.
I don't even know if Goddard's back or who's trying to start him. And I think Fields is back, but he probably won't do much. So Philadelphia is actually probably considered like a streamer defense too. Like I think they'll try to contain Fields, even though he'll scramble a lot. But I think they're going to be good for maybe about 10 to 12 points this week. So they're actually probably worth a good stream this week. But about when you get to the Bears, Fields is back. So would you start him against this Eagles pretty tough defense?
Man, to be honest with you, I've been a big fan of Fields this season. Like, first he started off really, really bad, then he
Yeah,
got a little bit better, and he got really good, and then he started like he was really entertaining to watch because he's basically like Hurts, but less refined.
Yeah,
Um, man, Hurts against the I don't know. The Eagles defense is just really. I mean, they're the best team right now.
I think it's too much of a
Defense.
gamble, especially the first round of playoff.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Fields will probably get me maybe some garbage time touchdowns, but he might throw some crucial picks or get a sack. They're probably going to pressure him a lot. Their secondary is really
Yeah.
good. I mean, they got Claypool on that side, but it's nothing game changing. Imagine if he actually had some wide receivers. So, um,
Yeah. 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 I
uh,
wouldn't do it. It's too much of a gamble in a playoff game.
I think the only guy I would start is Montgomery. I think Cole Kmet, they're going to cover him, the wide receivers. And
Hmm.
Montgomery, that's like a stretch. They might box him in and everything too. So it just depends.
Yeah.
I would say that because Fields uses his legs to get closer, to the end zone. And on top of that, you probably give it to Montgomery to run in. So I would only trust Montgomery in this case. And the
Yeah.
Bears defense, no, absolutely not. Not start him this week. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely don't start any defenses against the
yeah,
Eagles.
yeah.
Basically.
So,
Don't
yep.
do it.
So the next game is going to be the KC Chefs again at the Houston Texans. So
Oh God. Oh jeez. Oh,
yeah,
this is gonna
yeah,
be bloodbath, a murder,
yeah,
block of pros, whatever you want to call it. Just the Texans are gonna get just
yeah.
buried 6 feet
Let's keep
under.
it. Let's do this like this is the last matchup. Start everybody on the Chiefs. Kelsey,
Yeah, there you go.
Pacheco, Mahomes. Heck, even Chiefs defense is worth a stream this week for sure.
Start their grandmas too because
Yeah,
they're just gonna get a bunch of points.
yeah. So, um, and this is gonna be easy too. On the Texans, don't start anybody. Even Cooks, even Pierce.
What
No
about
one's
Pierce? No, don't start Pierce.
maybe as a flex, but the team's just been so inconsistent. Like it's just, I mean, Pierce
Yeah,
is
but he's
just
been in a hot season. I might flex Pierce, or it depends on who your running backs are, but it wouldn't be a bad option.
yeah, probably right
Pierce,
because if
he might.
they can't throw and anyone can catch the ball, you can run it with them. Yeah, I could probably consider him a
Yeah.
flex. And Houston's defense, you should never ever start them. They're like the new
Uh,
Jaguars of the season. Speaking of the Jaguars, they're at home
uh,
hosting the boys, the Cowboys. So um,
Cowboys.
I think it's becoming a trend too. I think the Cowboys this one you
Mhm.
got to start them all. Start Dak, start Lamb,
Yeah.
start Schultz,
Yeah.
start Pollard, start
Mhm.
Zeke, and
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
but 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 do you start the Cowboys defense this week against Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah. 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 Sure, I would.
The
Uh.
reason I ask is because Trevor Lawrence at Tennessee last week, you thought Tennessee's defense was actually going to hold on. Trevor, he actually did pretty well last
I
week.
didn't
So,
think that. I
oh,
did not think
really,
Tennessee's defense.
really?
I'm pretty sure other people did, but I sure as heck didn't. I watched the I watched a lot of Titans games because I have Derrick Henry, and it's like, man, you guys, if it wasn't for Derrick Henry, you guys would just
Mhm.
be the Jaguars.
Yeah,
But yes, I would. Yeah, I'll start Cowboys defense. Michael Parsons, one of the best.
yeah,
The other Diggs guy, really good
yeah.
defense.
So,
Uh, yeah,
would
start Cowboys defense.
yeah. Also,
Easy.
in a crucial game one of the wild card, I mean, I'm sorry, of the playoffs, right? Pretty much kind of like wild card, right? Trevor Lawrence, would you roll with him this week?
Uh, yeah, I probably would. He's probably gonna get you some touchdowns. He's gonna get some yards in there.
Maybe garbage time at towards the
Event.
end. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly. If anything, it would
yeah.
be garbage time. Yeah.
Um, I'd say yeah. I mean, it's kind of tough even if you start him. I think the Cowboys might get to him and force some turnovers and whatever, right? But then at the end he's still got to throw the ball, right? So I say go out there and roll with Christian Kirk. Start with Zay Jones. Evan Ingram actually did really well last week. He got almost 30 points last week. So yeah, he's been pretty
Yeah.
legit um, tight end. So I'm not sure about Etienne, the running back. What do you think about him for the Jaguars?
He hasn't really shown enough for me to even consider
Yeah. So
think about him or looking at his numbers.
I think it's gonna be I think the Jaguars are end up throwing a lot. They're gonna be like down a lot, and they're probably gonna be throwing the
Mhm.
ball a lot, and he's gonna probably
Mhm.
be phased out. And Jaguars defense, no, don't start them. Obviously, it's easy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this next game sounds like it's gonna be a fun one. If you had players for either one team, it's gonna be the
Mhm.
Lions at the Jets. So I think it's gonna be all offense, so no defense. Even though the Jets have a pretty good defense, um, I think look for Goff to just throw the ball all over the place. Um, I'm I look for him to throw the ball over this place, but if you have somebody better than Goff, then probably don't start Goff. But if you have Goff, then probably go with him if you can. So he might be
Yeah,
a good
yeah,
streamer. But
yeah.
for Amon St. Brown, was it Amon St. Brown? Yeah, Ron.
I'm on St. Ross.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but yeah,
Amon
him.
Ross St. Brown.
Yeah,
Amon Ross St. Brown. That's his
Amon
name.
St. Brown. Sorry, yes. He's been a legit number one receiver. You roll with him. He's done this
Mm-hmm.
well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know who replaced Hawkinson, but I'd say no, don't start that guy, whoever it is. If you have the
Yeah.
tandem of Swift and Swift will
Mm-hmm.
get you to the end zone, to the 1 yard line, and then Jamal Williams will
Mm-hmm.
punch it in for the touchdown, steal the touchdown. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I was
um,
looking at his numbers. I think he has the most touchdowns this season out of all the running
yeah,
backs.
so
He
that's good for
does.
sure. And then
Mm-hmm.
Lions defense, no, this is going to be a barn burner, I believe. And so Mr. Mike White Knight, pretty much. Is the QB now. So he's had a last couple rough weeks against other pretty good teams, but I think he's going to shine in this game. I think, especially against the Lions defense at home, I'd say start him for sure. If you have him, he's definitely worth a start. Wilson, Davis, some of those receivers start for sure. Conklin for sure, and
Wait. Let me ask you about Mike White, Randy, because you played him last week. How do you do?
he got like 20 some points, not too bad against like a Bills defense. That's pretty tough. Even and the week before that, he got
Hmm.
like 25
Okay.
points against the Vikings D. So it's like there's no quit for him. You can obviously see the difference between him and Zach Wilson. Like he played well
Mm-hmm.
before when Wilson got hurt last year, but of course, it's like the case in Washington where you have Wentz that was obviously picked to be the starter, right? But he gets hurt, and then you have Heineken come in and become very manageable and then lead the team to a bunch of wins, right? Same here with Mike White.
Mm-hmm.
He knows the system well.
Mm-hmm.
They trust in him, and
Mm-hmm.
they go out and ball. They go out and
Mm-hmm.
ball for the guy. And I really like saying this guy's name, Zonovan Knight, the new running back in the Jets. So he's taken over for James Robinson. Michael Carter's a
Mm-hmm.
complimentary guy. I started Knight last week against the Bills. He got about 15 points and a touchdown. I say roll with him this week too. So for sure. Um, so,
Yeah, yeah.
but would you start the Jets defense, even though they're really good? Or do you think it's gonna be a barn burner, like we said it was gonna be?
Oh, that's a pretty rough one. Jets defense at home. No one's really hurt on the Lions. When I start the Jets defense.
I think it's toward the end of the season, a little
Yeah,
grind. So
that's,
like
that's
it's like
rough.
I think the Lions are playing tough. You know what? The Lions are actually competing for a playoff spot. So even though with
Yeah,
their bad
yeah,
record, I
there.
think so. I think it's going to be they're going to play really competitive. So I would actually halt on starting the Jets defense this week. So
Okay, we'll go
yeah,
with that one because I that was a hard one because yeah, playoffs implications.
yeah,
Goff is playing really good. The receivers
yeah. That one's
are
gonna.
doing well.
I
Yeah.
think out of the games all this week, I think that's probably one. If you have any players on either side of either side, then it's going to be probably gonna get a lot of points. So, oh man,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
talk about from the game that might be the game of the week to game of man that is weak. Cardinals at the Broncos. I think Colt McCoy is in as a backup. He's actually pretty serviceable. He's been in the league for
Mm-hmm.
longer than you think he'd be. Um, I think he knows the offense pretty well. Um, but in my opinion, too risky start this week because it's kind of like he comes in just when someone like Kyler Murray's hurt. So I would need to see more consistency from him.
Mm-hmm.
Denver is pretty good at home, especially their defense, even though they probably blew it
Defense
out
is
this week.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
would you start Hopkins and Hollywood Brown this week?
I start Hopkins just because
It's
you probably
Hopkins,
don't
right?
have
Yeah.
any better.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
you probably don't have anyone better than him,
I
but probably not Hollywood Brown.
Yeah. I think Ertz is still out. I'm not sure who the backup tight end is. See, that's a theme. We don't know who the tight end is for the Cardinals. Uh, uh, let's see. James Conner has been playing really well since he came back from injury, so I'd
Hmm.
say roll with him this week. He probably definitely with a good flex for sure. What do you think?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely flex him if you have him. He's really the main offense
Yeah.
right
Right.
now for the
Okay.
Cardinals.
Yeah. So, uh,
Yeah.
and Cardinals defense has been actually really bad this year. So even though they might be playing a Broncos team without Russell Wilson, I would not suggest starting them at all. So Um,
They probably are a better team without Russell Wilson. I'm just gonna say this right now. That's like probably the hottest take you'll get. The Broncos will probably play a lot better without Russell Wilson because he is just not good.
so you tell me the Wolverine blood
Have
that he mentioned is not kicking in for him after he got that concussion?
a-
Because he's got that Wolverine blood, the healing factor, right? So,
no, Russell Wilson, you're a
um,
disappointment to me.
I don't know who the backup is for Russell Wilson, but I
Ripon,
would.
his name is
Oh,
Ripon.
Ripon, yes, yes.
Ripon.
I would not start him. So,
No, don't do it.
um, yeah, it's just too iffy. All the running backs, all the tight ends, all the wide
What
receivers.
about Judy? What about Judy? What do you think?
The thing
Judy's
is,
really good.
he's really good, but you don't know how this quarterback's going to play. He's coming in after someone injured. You'd have to see how he plays and everything. That it's just too risky, especially in the first round of the playoffs, right? Like, are you telling me you're going to put your hands in a backup quarterback? No, you wouldn't, especially so. And then Broncos defense, no. So um, some players on the Cardinals, no
No
players
to
on the
wait, no
Broncos.
to Broncos. Wait, no to Broncos defense. I'd play Broncos
Oh yes,
defense.
I'm sorry, my bad. Yeah, Broncos defense. I forgot they're playing against Colt
Mm-hmm.
McCoy at home. Yes, Broncos
Mm-hmm.
defense streak. My bad. So
Start with confidence on that one.
yes. Next game is going to be the Patriots at the Raiders. So
Just pick the Patriots.
yeah, I think Max Jones is like a good game manager. I don't think he's gonna like razzle
Mm-hmm.
dazzle you that much.
Mm-hmm.
I think was it Parker that got a concussion, scary concussion last week, and then
Mm-hmm.
Aguilar was actually one that told the ref that had to put a timeout, so he might be down receiver. Um, but I would say in this matchup at the Raiders, he would definitely be considered a stream, Mac Jones, because Raiders defense is actually pretty bad, you know. So,
Mm-hmm.
but
Um, it's Josh McDaniels versus his dad, Bill Belichick, and he's
right,
just gonna
right.
just
He's
gonna
gonna,
spank him.
yeah,
He's
he's
a
like,
terrible coach.
yeah. You think with the, Derek Carr and Devontae Adams, they could do more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. There's too many wide receivers on Patriots. Like one, there's not one that stands out. They spread the ball around too much. I wouldn't risk starting any wide receivers for the Patriots this week because you don't know who's going to get the ball. I think the only guy I would trust is Hunter Henry, the tight end, because he's shown that he's the number one tight end over Jonnu Smith. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think Stevenson is hurt, the running back, so I think they have another Harris. I think
Hey,
it's
you gotta say his name. He has a cool name. His name is Ramondre. You gotta say it.
yes. So you could say all the hard
Ramondre
names for
Stevenson is
me,
a
and
great
yeah,
name.
Ramondre Stevenson
Not
is
hard,
out.
Andy. It's
Yeah.
just cool.
All right. You can just say all the cool names then, right? So, um, yeah, if he's out, then I think the Damian Harris is also out, but I think there's another Harris. I think it's like Chris Harris, I believe. He's going to be a popular waiver wire pickup. So I would say start him for
Okay.
sure. Yeah, if you want to start somebody that you're not sure, start him against the Raiders. You know. So
Yeah, basically, it's kind of
yeah.
like you'll probably have a decent shot of getting good points.
So would you start Derek Carr at home against that Patriots defense?
Uh, at home, that's probably a big
I
factor right there.
It's going to be tough. The Patriots secondary is actually
If you're
really good.
desperate,
Yeah, but
yeah.
first round
If,
playoff, nope, I wouldn't. It's too risky. Devontae Adams for sure because he's the number one guy getting
mhm.
targets. Foster Moreau has been this big disappointment. I should know I had him as a tight end 2 weeks in a row with no catches. That's why I'm probably not in the playoffs. And then
That might be a big factor there,
yes,
Randy.
exactly. I mean, what can you do, right? But Josh Jacobs is stud. I would start him. And
Hmm.
Raider defense, absolutely not. Yeah, so
Yeah, that's
yeah,
out of the question. Don't do it.
yeah.
Definitely Josh Jacobs. He's beasting it. He's probably the number one running back right now with the amount of
Yeah,
yards
I agree. He's
he's.
the most consistent, been getting a lot of
Mhm.
yards and been living up to the hype now. So,
Actually, you know
Nick,
what? Let me say this. Josh Jacob has 1,402 yards.
wow,
The next guy is Derrick Henry, and he has 1,199.
wow. So he's probably
Pretty
running away with the
ridiculous.
rushing title then, huh? Okay, so
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
something to look forward to. Maybe he's going to add to that, of course, for sure. So the next game
Mm-hmm.
is going to be the Titans at the Chargers. So Ryan Tannehill, did you start him against this Chargers defense?
Chargers defense is pretty terrible.
The Titans are they're probably going to win the division, right? So you think that they're going to have something to play for. They're not just going to lie down, right? So
Yeah.
they're in a really really bad division. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that Tannehill is probably going to be due for a pretty good game.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to Burks and Woods, I'd probably go with Burks more than Woods right now because then he's going to
Mm-hmm.
get any more than looks. Derrick Henry is a no-brainer. Um,
My dude.
yeah. So Austin Hooper is the tight end over there. I think they had another. Well, do you know the tight end? And the other one is it Akunwo? Akunwo is the other tight end that did pretty
Kind of
well.
hard to say his name, but I actually did pick him up from the waiver because I want to give myself some options between him and Everett for the last two games. So I actually
Yeah,
did pick him up.
I would
He's
actually pick. I would actually use him more than Everett right now because Everett's kind of disappeared a little bit, So I would go with him, or I would go with him over Hooper more.
yeah,
And
for sure over Hooper.
yeah,
Yeah,
so and
Hooper.
then Titans defense, yeah, they didn't do well, so nope.
Don't
Um,
start that
so
defense.
this is one that's gonna be an easy one. Chargers offense, start everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Herbert,
Eckler.
Allen, Eckler, Williams, Everett
Mm-hmm.
too, I guess in this case. But don't start the
Yeah.
Chargers defense. So it held. I mean, I think this game might be a mid to high scoring game, kind of maybe a little shootout going back and forth a little bit. I think so. So
Yeah, I'm expecting a shootout too,
yeah,
but I think Derrick Henry will be the factor, and that's the reason why the Titans will probably win.
yeah, he's a big dude. Card on start. So the next game is going to be a really interesting game. It's going to be the Bengals at the Buccaneers. So um, I'm probably going to make this one easy too. Probably start. Bengals have been playing really good football as of late. They got Jamar Burrow's got Jamar Chase back, Higgins.
Hmm.
I think Tyler
Hmm.
Boyd got hurt, but you still have two really good wide receivers. I
Hmm.
don't know. I think Hayden Hurst is still hurt, so I wouldn't start at the backup there. But if you have Chase or Higgins and
Yes.
Burrow, start for sure. Mixon
Hmm.
is going to be back. Yeah, start for sure.
Hmm.
Um, just because it's at Tampa Bay, I would not suggest starting Cincinnati defense. You are playing against the GOAT, after all. So that's my take on it. What do you think?
I would do it. I would definitely play the Bengals defense.
Really?
If you've seen how Tom Brady has played this season, he's and you saw how he played last week specifically too. Just like it
That's a
just
good point. Against a really good defense, yeah,
it,
it's like really good defense is figuring him out, and maybe it's just the
mhm.
age thing, or maybe just doing something different, right? But just
It's all that. It's all that. I would still play the Bengals defense pretty confidently.
yeah,
Um, if
I wouldn't
if
start. I wouldn't start Brady, but I would start his receivers though, Evans and Godwin.
you
I
kind of
mean,
have to, you kind
they
of have
get
to.
they
You
get so
don't have
many
a
looks.
choice.
Yeah, I mean, like
Mm-hmm.
they can't get the run game going with White and Fournette, which I think is probably going to be iffy this week. I probably wouldn't trust the wide receivers. Maybe even on the new tight end, the younger tight end that took over for
The
Brady.
tight
So
end.
yeah, so I would only really trust
Mm-hmm.
the wide receivers this week. I wouldn't really trust any of the other running backs or Brady this week. It's too risky. Even at home, it's just like if you have some better options, you should go with them. And even the Buccaneers at home seem pretty enticing. I wouldn't suggest starting them against Burrow in this offense.
Don't do it. Don't
Yeah,
do it. I have the Bucks defense. I would not start them. It was playing this week.
yeah.
Oh, special shout out to all the Mike Evans fantasy managers that picked him up. I'm sorry I feel your pain. Specifically, Leon. That was a shout
Hey,
out to you.
oh my brother, yeah, yeah. Hey, I got Godwin, and then he's legit, yeah. So, but
Yeah, shout out to you guys
yeah,
for
for
grabbing
getting
those
him, yeah,
picks.
taking the L for that one. So, so the Sunday night game is going to be the Giants at the Commanders. So I think the Giants have
Hmm.
been free falling after that good start. Um, Daniel Jones is who did we thought he was. Just kidding. So I would not recommend starting Daniel Jones. I don't even know who the receivers are, except I only know
uh,
Galladay.
they have uh, they have they have one of the guys, Darius Slayton.
Yeah, Slayton.
He's and then Reese. Well, I forgot what his
Yeah,
name was,
it's
but something Reese.
too inconsistent. Like to start, like I
Reese
think
James. Sorry, Reese
yeah,
James. Yeah.
yeah, I think Bellinger's that tight end. I actually know that one for some reason now. But the only guy I would trust on the offense for the Giants, you know him, Saquon Barkley, the only guy I would
Mm-hmm.
trust starting. Start
Yeah.
him for fantasy. That's the only guy I trust. And Giants defense is yeah, same thing as Daniel Jones. Not who they thought they were. So
Mm-hmm.
um, and the Commanders are actually pretty good records. So for Heineke, I think he's too risky. Like too like he's a good game manager, but he's not gonna dazzle you with a lot of points, especially in the
Mm-hmm.
divisional game. So I wouldn't recommend starting him. But I would start McLaren. Um,
Mm-hmm.
is it Curtis Samuel? Yeah, for him. Uh, Logan Thomas
Wait,
looks
wait,
like.
wait, wait. Wait. Curtis Samuel. I don't know about that one. I have that guy. I've had him all season.
Mm,
He had a couple of good weeks, but if you actually watch him, it's like if you have another option,
yeah, I think McLaren is the
if you have
easy
another option.
clear cut guy. So yeah, I'll take that back.
Mm-hmm.
Don't start him. So McLaren seems like to
Mm-hmm.
be the only one guy. Yeah, Doxson's back from his injury, but not really
Mm-hmm.
that consistent. Logan Thomas is pretty much converted into kind of like a Kittle position where he's been mostly a blocker now and more than a
Blocker.
receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
looks like Brian Robinson's taken over the running back position, so I would say start him for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Maybe if you
Mm-hmm.
have Gibson, maybe a flex, maybe they'll be up big and
If
yeah.
you're desperate, bet Robinson first.
Would you start Washington defense this week against the Giants?
Uh, Washington defense. I know some people would do that because they're at home, they're playing good. The last time the defense held them to only 20, or the Commanders' defense held them to 20 points at New York. So I
Yeah,
probably would play them. Yeah,
yeah.
I
I
probably would
think
play them.
that they're
Dan
vouching
Jones is
for yeah,
terrible.
yeah. I think that they're gonna hold the Giants to like only like a certain amount of points. That they're vying for a wild card spot too. So yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna play really tough.
Hmm.
So and
Yeah.
the last game on Monday night, this game looked good on paper when the schedule came out, but the Rams at the Packers. So Baker Mayfield did pretty well last week, serviceable, but yeah, let me go
Don't do
Green
it.
Bay.
I
Yeah,
would not do it. I would not
yeah.
do it.
I would need to see more consistency from him. He did beat the Raiders. That's a good victory, of course. And a lot of people beat the Raiders, but so yeah, I wouldn't start Mayfield. Man, I wouldn't. Um, I think I'm saying his name right. Skowronek is one of the receivers for the Rams.
Yeah,
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 so
yeah.
that's a
If
pretty
you're
cool
desperate, you
name.
can probably flex them. If
Uh,
you're
I,
desperate, you can probably flex them,
the only
but
guy I would flex as wide receiver is Van Jefferson. So,
yeah.
but that's also a stretch as well. I think the only guy I would
Mm-hmm.
start on the Rams offense is Cam Akers. He's kind of
Cam
been
Akers.
rejuvenated
Yeah.
since coming back, so I think they're going to use him a lot. I think he's going to do pretty well. And
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to the Ram defense, yeah, it's a shell of their former selves. They don't have
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Donald this year, so
Mm-hmm.
I would start them. But would you start Aaron Rodgers this week against the Rams?
Uh,
Broken thumb and all.
you kind of have to.
Yeah,
If you don't have, if you look at the waiver and you see all the other quarterbacks, you probably shouldn't be expecting much, but you should if
yeah.
that's like
I
your only
think he'd
option.
be
Yeah.
a good flex, a good streamer this week because he's at home. The Rams is a
Mm-hmm.
pretty horrible team, probably going to be up big. Would you start
Mm-hmm.
Watson? I think Dobbs is coming back as a wide receiver as well. I think Watson's
Uh,
emerged as the number one wide receiver for that team.
I would start Watson. Obviously Aaron Jones, and then
Yeah,
Dylan if you need a flex spot, but not Dobbs because also had Dobbs
and he got
at
hurt. Yeah,
certain points of the season. He got hurt, can't catch the ball to save his life. Terrible, terrible drops.
yeah.
So I would not start Dobbs. Comeback injuries, drops a lot of balls. Pretty sure Watson's gonna get
Hmm.
more looks
You think so?
from
Even with Jalen
Rodgers.
Ramsey on him?
Uh, I mean, Jim Ramsey, he'll get catches. I think he'll
Yeah,
still get
I
catches.
think it's because the team is so bad this year that the team's getting gassed, on defense.
Mm-hmm,
So it's
mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
they're gonna find a way. Aaron Rodgers is gonna find a way to cut him up. But do you start the Packers defense this week?
I would. Yeah, I would.
I actually would say
I
no.
would.
I mean, it's even against Baker Mayfield. I think this game might be a mid-scoring game right here. Like even with Mayfield, like uh, I don't think the Packers have shown enough consistency this year to probably warrant even. There's probably better options out there on defense. So
Uh, I'm looking at the waiver. There's not, to be honest. I probably play Green Bay, dude. I just feel like Baker Mayfield has one good pick six in him.
oh, okay, okay, okay. Okay. So you
That's
heard it
how I
from
see
two.
it.
You heard from two. Start Packers defense if you can get them. So okay, all
I
right.
would.
So
I would.
okay, so okay, I wouldn't, but we can agree to disagree. That's fine. So
Hmm.
that's for all the games. So let's get into the kickers. So
Hmm.
Harrison Butker at the Texans, no brainer. You got to start this guy every week. The Chiefs are going to score a bunch. Texans going to give up a
Hmm.
bunch of points. That's an easy. Uh, Brett Maher at the Jaguars. So the Cowboys, of course, this game is probably going to be a shootout game. I think that's going to be a lot of opportunities for Maher to get a lot of kicks in. So
Hmm.
I don't agree necessarily with this one. Daniel Carlson at home against the Patriots. So, like, I think the last couple of weeks they've only scored maybe like 16 to like 20 something points, not giving Carlson that many opportunities to score. So I think if you have, I mean, he is a really good kicker, right? But I don't think that the offense
Hmm.
is giving him many opportunities to kick field goals. So I guess especially against the Patriots defense, it's actually really good. So, um, but if you can find a streamer this week, I'd say keep Carlson on your roster and probably go with a streamer that probably has a better matchup. So
Hmm.
Tyler Bass against the Dolphins, yeah, this is game's probably going to go back and forth. A lot of opportunities for Tyler Bass to score for sure. Justin Tucker, yeah, probably one of the best kickers of all time. There's no brainer. If you got, I saw some people pick him up in like the fifth round or something like that right away. Like they didn't wait.
Hmm.
He's such a good kicker. Like it's easy points. So um, now I like saying this name, Cameron Dicker, the kicker, against at home against the Titans. So he's taken over the job from Dustin Hopkins, who's out for the year, and he's actually done pretty well. So yeah, the Chargers have been scoring a lot more points. So I think he's definitely going to have a lot more opportunities to get some more field goals.
Yeah.
Uh,
If you're streaming kickers, just go for the high scoring games and
yeah,
put a kicker in there.
that's
You'll
true.
get points.
You don't necessarily need to have the best kicker on the,
Hmm.
in the league. You can just pick streamers, and then they can do pretty well for you.
Hmm.
Nick Folk at the Raiders. I think that you know Mac Jones might not get them into the end zone, but close enough to get a field goal. So that gives a lot of opportunities for Nick Folk to kick some field goals. Uh,
Agree with that one. Yeah.
Evan McPherson at the Bucks. Probably going to be a pretty high scoring game. He's a really good, reliable kicker. So look for him to get a lot of points there. Um, Greg Joseph against the Colts. Yeah, they're going to be up big. They're probably
Hmm.
going to be killing the Colts, and instead of going for touchdowns, they're just going to go for field goals. So
Hmm.
that's a good start for sure.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
Robbie Gould, who's been my kicker for a while, been pretty reliable. Yeah, against the Seahawks on Thursday night. So definitely a start
Hmm.
for sure. So that's it for our picks and our kickers. So I'd like to thank my buddy too for showing up. Appreciate the friendly banter we had this week. So, too, will you be joining us next week for the second round of the playoffs?
If I make it to the playoffs, I'll be here.
Okay. So,
And
if
I
you
intend
lose,
to
then
make it there.
you're not gonna show up and discuss then, right?
We'll see what happens. But I intend to make it on the next round. Don't worry.
Yes. So, me and two were planning to do this beginning, right? But due to technical difficulties and getting the thing started, it was tough. But now we got the setup going.
Hmm.
We should probably get this going forward. And I appreciate his feedback. Uh, Thanks too for showing up. And if you guys are in the playoffs this week, good luck.
Hmm.
I'll be
Hmm.
watching from home, sad,
And
crying.
congrats on making it there.
Yeah,
Congrats on making the playoffs too. That's
yeah.
a good. That's a good
That's always a
start.
good accomplishment. Two, I wish you good luck being the first seed. You get to sit and watch from on the couch this week to see who plays, and good luck this week. And good luck to everybody else. Hopefully our advice helps you guys out. Thanks for
Hmm.
nerding out to our nonsense, fantasy to our football, all that good stuff. If you guys like the stuff you guys see, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And good luck, everyone. And thanks again for watching. See ya.
All right.
All right.
Peace
All right.
out.
All right. Thanks.